Welcome to our regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Supervisors. If you please stand with me and join me in the flag salute led today by Supervisor Crocker. Remain standing for a moment of silence.
Salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. All right, we'll take up item number 1, which is Board of Supervisor matters, beginning today with Supervisor Ennis.
Thank you. Well, we had a nice event last week. We had the Locomotion Awards from Tulare County Association of Governments, and it was a wide array of bike paths, roads, roundabouts, you name it. People got little awards for it, and it was great. It was good to see everybody and to see all the cities there that were represented, the incorporated cities throughout the county. So that's always a fun deal. This morning I was live on KTIP Radio on Facebook, and that's quite an experience when you go out there and you see Hopper and PK, and then of course Kyle, Hopper's son, was directing the deal. But you know, that's pretty hectic. I mean, they're constantly looking and trying to look ahead and read their materials, and most of that's all live. They're on there when you hear what I'm talking. That's live. I mean, they're actually live. So it was kind of fun. I told them, I said, I kind of feel like a bomber pilot with these heels on. But the girls put it on when I came back to the office today, and we watched a little bit of it. So I didn't look too bad, too nervous. So anyway, it was kind of fun. I'm going to get Kyler on there in the future. He needs to be on there, Baby Croc. So anyway, that's all I have for today. It was a fun experience, so I'd recommend it to anybody.
Very good. Thank you. Supervisor Kyler Crocker.
As opposed to the other Crocker.
That's right. There can only be one baby around here. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just a few things. Yesterday, I want to highlight a meeting I had with Eric Quinley, who's was formerly the interim general manager of the Friant Water Authority, and currently serves in an executive capacity with the Delano Early Mart Irrigation District. And our discussion revolved primarily around the subsidence issue on the Friant Canal and the impacts that it's having with their district, with districts further south, and even some a little bit north. And so we as a county, we have 5 bridges that cross over the canal that could possibly be or that are impacted, but depending on their solution, raising the canal banks, I think that has even more of an impact from our standpoint, and not to mention just from agriculture in general. And so there was a lot of it was a good discussion. We also talked about Temperance Flat and some of the challenges that they're having and with certain players. So it was a very lively discussion, and a lot of things to continue to think about in regards to subsidence and the impacts that wide areas have on irrigation district customers, and so balancing that as we move forward through Sigma is definitely going to be a challenge. So some of the things I hadn't really thought about. So it was very good. Outside of that, this week I've got a meeting with the Lindsay Kiwanis on Thursday. Have a meeting with the Three Rivers Museum Friday morning about a potential expansion project they're working on, and I think that's all I want to highlight.
Supervisor Shuckman?
Yes, last Thursday I attended the Project Homeless Connect at the Visalia Rescue Mission. It was raining in the early part of it. I'm not sure if we have any numbers yet. Jason, do you have any idea? But There are many county services there providing resources for those homeless citizens who attended, birth certificates, things like that. So hopefully some people made a connection there and can better their situation. Last Friday morning, I attended the California State Parks and Recreation Commission. They had their meeting at the Visalia Marriott previously the day before. They did the tour of Allensworth. At the commission meeting, there were many citizens and folks there from the Friends of Allensworth, so they were very excited that the commission came there and took the tour and all. So, and then the only other thing right now is next Monday night I will be attending, and actually the whole board has been invited. I'll put up the poster, but for a ceremonial swearing in for Visalia's new city manager, Randy Groom. So that's next week next Monday at 7 p.m. That's it.
Supervisor Vanderpool.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. Excuse me, I'm a little bit under the weather right now. Last week, yeah, get away from me, Amy. Actually, I'm feeling completely healthy. I just wanted Amy to scoot away from me. But anyways, last week we did have the Project Homeless Connect event in Tulare. That was very well attended, and I just wanted to thank all of the organizations and partners who came to that event. They do a similar event in Visalia, Tulare, and Porterville. And it is very well attended, but I think that what it exemplifies is that the homeless problem is complex. It's not just housing, it's not just mental health. There's a lot of different aspects to the homeless problem that we all have to be aware of, and so there is no silver bullet. I think we look at the state targeting housing as much as they are, but we have to realize that there's more to it than that in order to solve homelessness. And I do think that homelessness is a problem that won't ever entirely be solved, because there are some who don't ever want to be helped regarding their housing or home situation. I had a meeting yesterday regarding school safety issues in Tulare on Highway 137 and Oakmore Avenue. There's a K-8 school that accesses the school site through that thoroughfare. There's the COS Tulare campus and a high school campus, and so it really does back up Highway 137, and there have been several accidents, and it's very unsafe there. And so I had some constituents reach out after seeing what the county was able to do regarding Sundale's difficult intersection there, and see what we could do to maybe help out with that one. So I've had a meeting, and it looks like TCAG's going to be taking the lead on that, because it is Caltrans who would be the lead agency since it is a state highway. We have a LAFCO meeting tomorrow at 2 o'clock. I think that's going to be a lively meeting. We're dealing with the city of Visalia's sphere of influence, so we'll see how that goes. And then lastly, go Philly. Hope everyone's looking forward to a good Super Bowl game this weekend. My wife said, "Who are you rooting for?" And I said, "Who are you rooting for?" And she said, "The Patriots." And I said, "I'm rooting for Philly." So
Make it interesting.
go Eagles. Keep it interesting. That's all I
Like
got.
the couch, huh?
It's too late now, 3 kids later. Thank you, Mr. Vanderpool. Just a couple things. Friday we had a subcommittee meeting of the San Joaquin Valley Water Infrastructure Authority Budget Committee. You may have heard recently that we had some I won't call it a setback, disappointing news from the commission staff of when we look at funding for Temperance Flat. The state bond money will only pay for public benefits, and we submitted an application which demonstrated a very high public benefit ratio. In fact, it was one of the highest, I think, of the applications, and they had trouble, the staff had trouble connecting the dots, and so they gave us a 0. Fortunately, we are not alone. They gave 5 of the 11 zeros. Everybody else is below 1, and you got to have 1 or better to get even funding. So there's an appeal process, and the reason I bring this up is that as we were meeting at the Budget Ad Hoc Committee, we are going to continue with a $50,000 contribution from the members for another year because of the uncertainties which we still face. We anticipate there will be as much as $200,000 to $300,000 additional engineering costs as we go through this appeal process. Nothing has been easy about this road, but we will continue down it because we have really no alternative, and I do think at the end we will prevail. We had a Chamber of Commerce banquet. I know there were others this last weekend, Friday night at Dinuba, well attended, and congratulations to many of the businesses and individuals who were award winners that night. And then I will be speaking this Thursday at the Rotary Club in Woodlake about the state of the county affairs. And I also have a ROPS meeting in Woodlake on Wednesday. And it just brings up a point. I know at some point they were all going to be consolidated into the state, into the county, and I don't know. I know it got changed. Do we know when that's going to be? You might just let us know, John, when that's going. July 1. Okay. Which will mean all of the various redevelopment agencies throughout the county will be consolidated into the Board of Supervisors, and we'll be having whatever meetings that are necessary, but I'm sure they will be longer meetings because of them all being joined together, but probably much more efficient use of time. And as we kind of have to run around to these different meetings, we won't have to do that. So I believe that's all I have today, and someone's phone is ringing.
It's kind of like an awards show.
Yeah,
They start the
I
music
know.
and you're
Yeah,
supposed to
it's
get
just
off
growing.
stage.
Yeah. I've always said we could do a comedy routine about women and their cell phones, but I won't say that because it's probably sexist. So we'll move on now to our public comment period. Anybody wishing to address our board this morning on public matters which are in our jurisdiction but beyond our, within our jurisdiction but not on today's agenda are invited to come forward at this time. Do we have any public comments? Seeing no one, we will move on to our consent calendar. Item number 9 is being pulled. Are there any other additional items which members would like to handle separately at this time? Anybody for the public?
Seeing none, I'll move for approval of balance of the consent
Second.
calendar.
We have a motion by Supervisor Ennis, seconded by Supervisor.
Before we go on voting on that, I was just looking at item 12. That was just a quick question. Sorry about that. I've been a little slow this morning. That was an item to purchase a new piece of equipment for the Resource Management Agency. Did you look at, or did they look at San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District grant monies?
The background there is that it's actually a replacement. That
Okay.
the insurance is paying all but
Oh,
$10,000
okay.
of it,
All right.
so it's
Good deal.
a little different situation.
Just was looking for financial aid when we can get it. So
Right. And so the second was by Supervisor Crocker. Please cast your votes. And the votes are unanimous. Thank you.
Attention.
A bit worried there for a second.
I was in anticipation.
So we have one untimed item to do. I think we have more for closed session than we have for open session today. So we'll take up our untimed item number 15, a request. So number 9 is actually being pulled. We're not going to.
Pulled off
calendar.
Request from a Resource Management Agency to introduce and waive the first reading of an ordinance amending Article 5 of Chapter 3, Part 3. Morning.
Good morning. Reed Schenke with the Resource Management Agency. In the spirit of today's meeting, I'll keep it very brief. This is a request basically to establish a 15-minute parking zone in Pixley. The reason we need to do this is because our current ordinance specifically lists every location that we have parking limitations. So it's kind of a sneak preview for something coming in the future. We're exploring with council some opportunities or some options to kind of modify that so that we're able to be a little bit more responsive with establishing these no parking zones. Ultimately, it's a 15-minute parking between 8 and 5, so business hours in front of the post office on Main Street in Pixley. There's a picture of the location and kind of a representation of what it would look like there. There's some businesses nearby that end up parking there, and the business owners park right in front of the post office all day. So as part of the town council meeting, this was some feedback we received that they'd like to see a 15-minute parking zone there. So with that, it is an ordinance change, so we will be ultimately coming back on the 27th for the final approval. The ordinance has to be in place for 30 days, and then that 30-day we'll paint the curb and put the sign up. So
Reed, I'm sure you must have had to get all the cars moved out of that area before you could take this.
we did. We've got
photograph.
cones just outside of the. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. It just struck me as a little bit odd and humorous, perhaps, that we're worried about parking in front. Anyway.
Yep.
I'm glad to hear that Pixley has such a bustling business section. They need that to happen. So,
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to ask him a question. Who's going to police this to see that some guy don't park there for an hour?
That's a fantastic question. So I think it would be basically the post office or somebody else would call and say, hey, we've got somebody parked
Come
there.
down and write him a citation?
Yeah.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I just want to thank the Resource Management Agency for really responding to the concern that was raised by the Pixley community. I know that it's very frustrating when you do go to the post office and you can't get access to it because of somebody who's parked there for so long. And so, being it is a small community, small post office, not a ton of parking right in front of it, and there are some elder residents who would benefit from easier, closer access. Those parking spots are very important, and I think that you would be surprised. I do believe that the residents in Pixley and then also the post office employees will be very proactive and active in making sure this is enforced.
Very good. Any other comments or questions?
No, I thought that was a good picture. You got the water tower in the background.
Yeah, it's really nice. Looks great.
Car coming down the street.
Entertain a motion?
Mr. Chair, I would move for approval if
Second.
there's no public comment.
Motion by Supervisor Vanderpool, seconded by Supervisor Shuckman. Please cast your votes. And the votes are in, and they are unanimous. All right. We have anything else today for the good of the order? Mr. CAO?
Wow.
Okay, so we
I
have
like
closed,
this new chairman.
we have closed session items, Council.
Yes, items A through E will be heard in closed session. Item F is off calendar, and I do expect announcements out.
Very good. Thank you for being here this morning.
Nice seeing you all.
Thank you very much.
That's
check mark in there. This is on a big STEM display on our laptop. So it would just, that was overriding everything you were trying to do. Yeah, on this one it doesn't.
This is Deanne Peterson, County Council, reporting out on closed session item B. The Board of Supervisors authorized the defense of individually named defendants, including those to be named later, with a reservation of rights. In the case of Ramiro Huerta versus the County of Tulare, the adverse party is Ramiro Huerta, represented by Matthew Odom of the Odom Law Firm. This case involves personal injury and a violation of civil rights. This was on the motion of Supervisor Crocker, second by Supervisor Ennis, a 5-0 vote. And reporting out on item C, the Board of Supervisors authorized legal counsel to initiate or intervene in litigation. After the action is formally commenced, the title and nature of the action, the defendants, and other particulars will be disclosed to any person upon inquiry, unless to do so would jeopardize the county's ability to effectuate service or process on one or more unserved parties, or would jeopardize the county's ability to conclude existing settlement negotiations to its advantage. The roll call vote was on motion of Supervisor Crocker, second by Supervisor Ennis, a 5-0 vote. This concludes the reporting out for today.